Now, if they're around in 100 years, they'll be antiques, and you just might be able to pick them up at the Antique Jamboree here in Tokyo. Believe it or not, many antique sales and flea markets take place in or around temples and shrines. But the Jamboree is no mere flea market, and it was held at Big Sight, one of Tokyo's largest convention centers. We sent treasure hunter Tomoko Hayakawa to the Jamboree to see what she could find.
Hi, I'm here at the 2015 Antique Jamboree, the biggest fair of its kind in Japan, with over 500 dealers from Japan, the US, and Europe participating. I don't know much about antiques, so I'm sure I'll learn a lot today. Also, hopefully I'll find something I like too. Come with me.
This event is so popular that even before the doors open in the morning, there's already a long line of visitors. As soon as the doors open, everyone makes a mad dash to be the first to their booth of choice. First, we headed to a well-established dealer founded about 150 years ago. They have everything from cups and saucers produced for export in the Edo period to East Asian antiquities. Our focus today is on these beautiful items from the Gyokusendo metalworks, which has almost 200 years of history. Known as Tsuiki copperware, through repeated heating, cooling, and tempering with a hammer, a single sheet of copper has been transformed into a beautiful kettle. These lovely tea caddies help keep tea leaves fresh. To protect against corrosion, the inside has been delicately coated with tin in a painstaking process that was meant to prevent damage to the copper. Copper can inhibit bacteria, which helps to purify water, and it's said that keeping flowers in a copper vase will help preserve them.
Besides making water taste better, these copper items are just lovely, aren't they?
Next up is a dealer that helps bring exported Japanese antiques back home to Japan. These dishes were exported to Europe and America from the late 19th through the early 20th century. Satsuma porcelain proved so popular at the 1867 Paris World's Fair that it was produced for export all over Japan outside its original birthplace. In particular, when compared to the originals, the items produced in Kyoto feature fine details and have a much more typically Japanese appearance than those actually made in the Satsuma region. Prized by Westerners, a considerable number were exported in days gone by.
These items definitely have an intriguing history. Let's find out more.
日本人の粋みたいなのがやっぱりどっかに入ったりするんですよ。だから一生懸命作ってます。今じゃやっぱりそれはね、コストが何時間かかっていくらで売んなきゃいけないっていうようなものではないですよね。もちろんそれ以上の価格で多分買ってくれてたんでしょうけど、一生懸命作ってなんか追求しながら何かをこうやってるっていうその良さっていうかな、そういうものはあると思いますね。はい。
Here we have what looks like a typical antique seller, which after a brief glance appears to have a good-sized collection of daily use items like glassware and pottery. This seems like just the place to come across a lucky find. They suggested I might try some of these little cups known as soba choco that are meant to be used for eating soba noodles. The original way to eat soba was to dip it in soup, kept in dishes like this. There are even some rare offerings that date from the Edo period, which have a particularly unique shape. Apparently, it was these cups that inspired the shop's owner, originally a high school Japanese teacher, to enter the world of antiques.
These beautiful pieces are meant for Japanese noodles. But if you like, you can also use them for drinking tea or sake.
This little shop specializes in rare antique coffee mills. Apparently, the owner's main occupation is tuning German-made automobiles. Most of these coffee mills were made in either France or Germany, but there are also some from Belgium, Holland, and Denmark. Beyond taking care of the grinding components, every part has been cleaned and fully restored to the point that you can enjoy using the mills to grind your coffee on a daily basis.
Okay, let's hear a few words from the owner of this charming antique shop.
このように割れてしまっても復元することも実は非常に大切なことだと思っています。これも全て現役として使えるがための一つの目的だと思ってやっております。
I can see why these are so popular with women. They are practical, but they also have beautiful designs.
This shop specializes in toys and figurines. As for the toys, their main focus is on the tin toys built here in Japan for export from the late 1940s through the 1960s. Since the toys of this period were mostly aimed at markets outside Japan, they were modeled after vehicles, dolls, animals, and robots that were popular in foreign countries. Such exports were vital to the Japanese toy industry at the time.
I know it's a very valuable antique, but to me, it still feels like a fun toy. Cute!
Now let's get back to the world of grown-ups and check out a dealer that mainly handles Western antiques. Most of the jewelry and accessories you see here are Victorian. In particular, many of them date from the 1870s or later, a time when, thanks to the Industrial Revolution, a number of wealthy individuals increased and many new techniques for producing such items were developed. It seems that modern-day enthusiasts of the period here in Japan enjoy not only collecting them, but also wearing them.
Even though this show features mostly Japanese items, it's great to see beautiful Western items too. Personally, this is my favorite.
Here, we have a seller that carries accessories for traditional Japanese clothing, which are also quite popular items at Kyoto antique markets. All the items you see here, including accessories for kimonos called obidome, ornate tortoise-shell hairpins, metal hairpins, and combs, were at their peak from the 19th to the early 20th century. Apparently, most of them have come from the old families of Kyoto. This shop has such a collection of rare and unusual items that producers of period dramas for both film and television often pay them a visit when looking for props. They also carry fragrant woods and museum-quality Imari porcelain vases.
This 19th century tortoise-shell hairpin is meant for traditional Japanese hairstyle worn with a kimono. How do I look?
Our final stop is a shop that sells antique clothing, and original dolls. It seems that they originally began collecting old kimonos and futons in order to get materials for the dolls. Nowadays, they have everything from the highest quality kimonos to ordinary work clothes. The vintage products range from the oldest at around 150 years to the youngest at roughly 50 years old and have been collected from Japan's various textile producing regions. The bundles of odds and ends for hobby use are surprised that they've had inquiries from people all across the country. These dyed pieces of fabric featuring cute little animals are also quite a hit and can be used as coasters or as patches for the back pockets of jeans.
I could spend hours looking through these amazing fabrics. Antiques aren't just old. It's the unique materials and techniques used in certain eras that make some items more special than the others. Also, the idea of passing on these items to the next generation is something I find just as beautiful as the things themselves. This is Tomoko Hayakawa. またね!
Thanks, Tomoko. Japan is a great country for antiques. Taking care of things and passing them on for generations is an important cultural value here. Antiques connect us with our past. Just the other day, I overheard some kids referring to music that was popular when I was in high school as oldies. I guess in a few years, you'll be finding me in the Antique Jamboree.